Hi, guys. I feel like I'm in like a Britney video with this, this microphone. Just had to say that. Yeah. I'm Amber Mundinger. Thank you so much for joining us. Really, really excited to chat with these three amazing people that are here on stage with me, Carolina, Hannah, and Adam. And I would love maybe for each of you to just do a quick introduction of yourselves. Let's do that. Carolina?
So I'll start, yeah. I'm Carolina Vallejo. I'm executive producer at Marshmallow Laser Feast. We are an experiential art collective based in London. I think that's enough for now.
Hi, everybody. I'm Hannah Marshall, and I'm an artist and the founder of H+. I create sound installations for deep listening.
Hi, I'm Adam Nicholas, co-founder and creative director of Polygon Live, which is a 360 live spatial audio event production company.
Love it. Well, I'm really excited to have this conversation because I feel like we're at a time where sound isn't just like one layer of an experience anymore. It really can be at the emotional core of it. And I think the word immersive is thrown around a lot and talked about a lot. And I'd love just to hear from each of you what your perspective is on immersive specific to the work that each of you do, which is so different. Hannah, you want to start?
So for me, immersive, I mean, it is a big word that is around a lot and very overused. For me, it's about immersing ourselves within the technology of the body. So like our inner world, our inner architecture. So, and so I think it's about sending people inwards for me, and through these senses that we're given.
So, yes, immersive is well used. We normally describe our work as experiential rather than immersive, although immersive is part of it. What I think about when the word immersive is thrown at is that you are placing the audience in not as an observer, but within and inside the artwork. So it's a different way of experiencing the art. And that's one of the ways that we create work at MLF.
For us, at Polygon, immersion it's like extending the sources of music so that it surrounds you and goes over you as well. The reason being, life is very immersive, but then when you go to live music events, it's usually two sources, which is not as immersive as your everyday life experience. So we work closely with Acoustics actually to make sure we can put music all around you and put you at the center of that experience.
I can't wait for each of you to hear a little bit more about the types of projects that these three work on because they're so uniquely different. Sound is really often described as an invisible art form. And to your point, Adam, we're constantly surrounded by sound every day, and we have the ability to just kind of tune out aspects of it. Or if you're in an experience where you're just hearing from two sides versus spatial, it's very, very different. So can you talk a little bit about how you turn something intangible into a visceral, emotional experience? Like maybe starting from your perspective with Polygon?
Yeah. Well, just like you said, it's a feeling, right? Sound, it's really interesting how people who don't have good hearing can feel music in their bodies. Bass frequencies feel so different from high frequencies. And when you're at a music experience, a loud one, a concert, that becomes part of why you're interested. It's the difference between headphones and going out to a concert. And with Polygon, what we want to do is make sure that experience is kind of as level and as equal around you at the same time. So instead of having music kind of coming from one direction, you're now starting to hear things moving in different places. You're starting to hear maybe horns coming from above you. You're starting to hear guitars moving around you. That changes the way you feel about music, and it changes the story that musicians can tell whilst they're playing in that kind of arena. And at the end of the day, I think feeling is what matters. So is the technology allowing for more feeling or not? We try to move it towards that.
Carolina or Hannah?
So for us, I agree and kind of coincide with a lot of what you're saying. And for us, the sound is also a bit of architecture, right? So it allows us to create a space and to create an environment in which you can feel either safe or kind of brave, because it's very big, and you can change the architecture of the space just with the sound when you're creating immersive experiences. So for us, it's something that is really useful as a tool to guide audiences to what we want to do. So when we're doing projects that are more storytelling based, that have kind of a narrative, it's really useful to bring them to a small space if what you're telling is something that is scary, or bring them to a bigger space if you want them to be playing. And having that capacity of allowing the sound to be positioned where it would be in real life if you were in a natural environment, for example, which is one of the things that we normally do with our work, is really powerful and really brings you the emotion that you want to convey with audiences and with people.
Do you have, I mean, off the top of your head, do you have a specific example? I mean, because you guys do so many different types of projects that are so interesting, that maybe one like in particular that's like from a storytelling perspective?
Yeah, this maybe is not totally storytelling, but it's something that always amused me. Was we were installing work in the Museum of the Future in Dubai, and it was a project about the future of the rainforest and the Amazon rainforest. So one of the pieces was this beautiful video of a tree, and we did a whole spatial audio composition of the ceiba in the middle of the Amazon, and we put the insect sounds around the speakers. And so you had like this mosquito that was going around, and you see people just like trying to get rid of the mosquito while you're like in the middle of Dubai in an air-conditioned museum that is indoors, but you still have like that feeling of like there's mosquitoes, annoying mosquitoes around. So it's so it really conveyed those
They were
situations. Yeah, we had to lower it down a bit.
Mosquito lower. That's a great example. Hannah, is there something that you want to share?
I mean, yeah, with spatial audio, it's just so incredible to be still and be able to move people whilst they're still. And, you know, and I have and do work with acoustics, so the technology is just extraordinary to be able to play with that and to get it moving, almost dancing around the space, and to be in control of all of those different aspects of it.
And you work a lot with sound and silence, and really that difference. Is there like a particular, I know we'll talk a little bit about like a particular project later, but is there anything like that you feel like showcases that you want to highlight now? Yeah,
I mean, you're right. It is about, how I apply it is about bringing people from sound into silence, into that movement, into stillness. That's the ultimate destination, I think, for me. And something that exemplifies that well from my body of work would be Voice Box that I showed at Saatchi Gallery in a small room, a lot smaller than here. It was about 4 meters by 4 meters squared, with 2 benches either side. And I always say, when we sit, we commit. And rather than just walking around a gallery, actually, if we're sat down like everybody is now, we're a bit more committed to it, whatever we're in conversation with. So, and the piece used just 4 speakers, and the sound really enveloped people. So it was sound bowl frequencies, so that tapped into alpha and theta brainwave states.
So cool. We'll get to experience a little bit of it before the end of this.
Oh, yes.
Adam, you just had Polygon Live, which was, if anybody didn't go, 2026, you should go. The first spatial audio festival in London was here at the beginning of May that you and the team put on. you guys work at such scale with these multi-sensory environments and what you're doing. What do you, from your perspective, feel like are the biggest challenges or breakthroughs that you've experienced over the past couple years with what you do, and even kind of coming through the 3-day festival here in London?
Yeah, so just in case nobody knows or some people don't know, Polygon Live is essentially a new music festival we put on in Crystal Palace, and inside we have a dome, and in that dome there are 12 points of speakers around the edge and speakers in the middle, and you stand inside and the music's played at you from all those directions at the same time. And getting it there was it's been a lot of work over the years. There isn't a playbook, right? There's no one to tell you this is what you can do, and this is what you can't do, and this is what works, and this is what sounds cacophonous and terrible. So there's been a lot of experimentation. We started it off in Thailand, where we work with a festival called Wonder Fruit, which is an exceptional, wonderful, beautiful festival. And there we learned how to work with musicians, how to explain this concept on the artistic side. But then on the physics side, it's like, when does music stop sounding good when you have it coming at you from all those directions, right? What is the limit of comfort? When does bass not work, or when is the music that goes too fast, too cacophonous? So we had to figure that stuff out and do a lot of simulation, work a lot with acoustics to do a lot of physics-solving problems, which is not my expertise. And then bringing that all together with really a fantastic team who are interested in the music, the physics, the engineering, the speakers, the booking, and then arrive at where we are today, which sounds really spectacular.
Yeah, it was really amazing. I mean, just out of curiosity, how do you describe that to an artist? We're going to do this thing, it's going to be all around you.
Yeah. So sometimes I talk about churches, actually, because this is before gramophones, before speakers, we were designing buildings, right, to amplify sound the way we wanted it. So we created these churches in a way that would resonate certain frequencies. So you get a lot of churches where choral music sounds great, because those fifths and those thirds, those are harmonies that just resonate because of the architecture. And the church organ, I like to think of that as the original spatial audio instrument right there. Because when that thing goes, this whole building is the organ, right?
It's
and
true.
Wherever you are, you can't really hide from that experience. So I try to remind people that it already exists, but then it's been taken away. And that what we want to do is put it back, but give you the control to be able to move sounds or to place sounds individually in a space. And then I say, well, what would you do with that? Where would you want your sounds to go? And then hopefully we have a good conversation. Yeah.
They're not like, what?
Give me my 2 speakers back. No, not yet. Yeah.
No. Hannah, we talked a little bit just now about VoiceBox, but a lot of your work, really explores the intersection of space, emotion, and human perception. How, for you, does spatial sound influence, or shape the conceptual art that you're creating?
I mean, the sound and spatial very much is at the heart of it. And actually, speaking of which, my next installation, I'm putting people in the heart of it, in the middle of it, and the sound is going to be surrounding them, so they are going to be the art in a sense. I mean, it's very, very, very much at the core of it. And like I said before, it's taking people from sound into silence. So it's like really thinking about the journey that people go on. And it was interesting hearing you talk about this being, just the acoustics of a place like this, of a church. It's a sacred space, and it is the original, the originator of spatial audio. So, and I think about sacred space a lot. I don't normally go to church. My Sunday service is turning my phone off. But I think in terms of spaces and architecture and safe spaces, it's about, my intention is to create those spaces for people to go in. And with my installation art, it's ephemeral architecture. They pop up and then they're gone. It might be for one day or one evening or 1 week or 3 months. But I do think we also need more permanent spaces to be able to experience sound in as well as silence.
And you haven't been in here since, sorry, Hannah told me a story that the last time she was in this space was 15 years ago.
Yeah.
It's a pretty cool story.
Yeah, when I found out today's panel talk was here, it rang a bell, quite literally, and so I just got into the very, OCD research zone, and I was like, I know, I've been there before, I can't remember, and I looked it up, and I realized 15 years ago, I spent a very long day and evening here working on a music video in a previous life for Florence and the Machine.
So it all comes full circle, back to...
Yeah, it's all, I'm very much going through a rebirth at the moment in my personal life, so it does feel like the closing of a chapter and an opening of a new one. But it was incredible. The song that I worked on, it's called Drumming Song, and I actually do use drums sometimes in the soundscapes, in the scores that we create. Like shamanic drum, with a heartbeat.
Sorry, it just was too good not to tell.
That's okay. I wasn't going to mention that.
She'll get me later.
It's all good. It's real. Yeah.
A couple more questions, because I want to make sure we get to you each getting to talk a bit about some specific projects. But how do you balance? You were talking a little bit about this, Adam, about explaining to artists the idea of spatializing and describing that. But how do you balance technology and artistry when creating immersive experiences? Because you can sometimes go too far. So for each of you, what's your perspective on that? And maybe Carolina, do you want to start?
Sure. So I think it's never losing sight of the creative. It's for us what we put at the center, the intention. The technology is at the service of the creative that we want to bring. It's often a catalyst in our work, so we're normally pushing boundaries and getting frustrated because the technology is not doing what we want it to do, so try to hack it in to do what we want it to do. And while that is exciting and we can get really techie and nerd and go into that area, we always kind of remind ourselves that the important thing is the concept that we're creating and going back. And I think in our work, because most of the work that we produce is based on science, and it's rooted in scientific research, for us is like a way of grounding us. There's something really specific and concrete that we can go back to and explore creatively.
Do you guys have any comment?
Yeah, the artists are everything. The music is everything for us. We're here because music has a particularly effective way of bringing us together, and the tools are critical in that process. Like better tools that are easier to use, that have a higher impact, means a better musical experience. And what's difficult today is there's so many new tools. It's like a lot, right? I go on the internet every day and I'm like, AI has broken, whatever technique that was cool yesterday is now gone. But are they easy to learn, and do they allow people to get back into the music? And I think that's what our job is at Polygon. It's to make everything look really simple for the musicians so that they understand the concept, but they don't have to think too deeply about how it's all put together if they don't want to. So if someone comes to us and they're like, hey, I just want to focus on my music, can you make sure it's beautifully spatialized for me? Yes. Or if someone comes and they're like, I want to work with the minutiae of placing sound in space, can you help me? also yes. And so I think for us, we just need to stay ready for what new tools arrive so we can keep delivering good music.
Love that. Okay, last question before we dive into each of your perspectives and projects. Looking at the audience, how has the role of the audience really changed from passive observer to active participant with Immersive from your perspectives?
Yeah, I mean, I could say from our point of view, explaining how spatial audio works is really important. Because when people come to Polygon, they just kind of like look around, and I can see them trying to figure out what is going on here? Like how does this thing work? So we need to explain that there are 60 plus sounds that we can move around. We need to explain that here are the points of audio where sound can come through. We need to explain that there are different levels of immersion. It doesn't need to be wrapped all around you and over the top of you. And then I feel like they can position themselves in a way where they can really enjoy it. They can know what they're coming in for. Where I think if you don't explain what's happening, people have questions and actually kind of gets in the way of their experience a little bit. People want to know, is it cool to whiz things around all the time? Mostly if you spin audio around, people just kind of get a bit dizzy. It's like, why is it? It's great if you've got the mosquito, but it's not great if you've got a bass guitar, right? So understanding a little bit of like why things sound the way they are is quite useful, I think. There are, also musicians who want to be in the Polygon with the audience, and that's something we do as well sometimes. So they can have a joint experience being cradled by the audio together, which I think is a new thing to experience as a musician and an audience member.
Love that. Okay, we're going to jump in because I feel like each of you have really interesting things that you've just done or are about to do. So we'd love for you to highlight some of the future of what you're excited about with Immersive.
I'm going to skip through because we don't have a lot of time, and I think I overdid it with the slides. But I want to talk about this project that is called Off the Oak, which is currently on show at Kew Gardens, and that's one of the reasons why I'm mentioning it. So if you are in town and want to go all the way to the west, Kew Gardens is a beautiful place.
One of my favorite places
It's
in the world.
place,
I
yeah.
mean, I live around the corner from there. It is.
So this is work that we did as part of a body of work that is called Portraits of Mother Trees. It's a series of works that we do in which we scan different trees and we try to overcome the effect of blindness, which is we see plants and we see trees and we know that they are alive, but we really don't relate to plants in the same way that we relate to other animals, for example, because we don't see them as alive, as we are even conceptually, we know that. So it's trying to bring this idea of like there is a lot going on within plants and within trees. And for this particular one, we work with Kew Gardens. We selected an oak in their gardens. It's called a Lucumb oak. And we scan it through different seasons and did a series of really detailed ecological surveys with the scientists at Kew through the seasons, and as well as a number of field recordings so that we could not only do like or have an understanding of the species that live within and around, like, and are related to the oak in different seasons, but at different times of the day. So we had really comprehensive field recordings through 3 seasons at dusk, down, daytime, and nighttime, and many of them were 24 hours recordings as well. So we're kind of the second client that you will have at Polygon that will go and be like, we really want this finicky sound to be put in this space. We also did more than 100 spot recordings of different, to get the bees, we put hydrophones and I forgot the name of this specific microphone that you put underground to record the fungi activity. So we had like all of the activity of the soil, and created this 12-minute looping video that we placed in the middle of this vista in Kew Gardens. This is where the tree that we scanned was originally placed, and then the Kew moved it to make room for the vista, and we convinced them to let us erect an LED screen in there, which was quite brave of them, and they allow us to do that. So there is a 12-minute video with spatial audio. We have a multi-channel speaker system that is behind the screen and within the ground. You can see James doing some of the field recording in there. So you can see the multi-channel speaker system we have. We buried speakers in the ground as well, so we could have specific sounds coming from the soil that are enveloping you, sounds coming from above that are the crown. We had recordings of the crown of the tree, and we also had some meditations as web companions, but that's
amazing.
Mostly it. So I rushed through it, so I could give time to others.
Yeah.
Not sure what order they're in, so we're just going to go with it. So this was my installation voice box at Saatchi Gallery, and so the light actually was in synchronization to the heartbeat sound that was played. There's a few slides. Is there a video on here?
It's at the end, yeah.
I could just let it do the talking.
Yeah. I think it's maybe the next one or right after.
Okay. It's a short video.
Oh, it's not on there.
Is it not on there?
It should be.
Yeah. I don't want to.
That's Adam's.
It's not on there. Oh, I have to speak about it.
Maybe you have to speak about it.
I'll keep it short because we've got 2 minutes 55 to be precise. So this was the installation I spoke about earlier. So a small space, blacked out, benches either side, and with the spatial audio, so it was like a 4-minute soundscape that enveloped people, and with the microphone and the speakers set in 4 places. So
And it was the heartbeat.
it was the heartbeat, which is an ongoing theme in my work. It's the most primordial sound. It's something that connects all of us, and it's always wonderful to be in these live spaces where we can feel everybody else's heartbeats in a space. And I think it's important, especially in an age where we live behind our screens in this era of what I talk about, of mass distraction and dissonance in the world. And I think we need more resonance, and that's what sound can bring us and to help us to reattune. There's more I could say, but I'm going to hand this over to you.
Thank you. Okay, so this is Crystal Palace Polygon Live, which took place in May. And what you're seeing here, I think there's maybe someone in soundcheck, maybe Max Cooper, who performed.
I think it is.
Yeah. So this is a spatial audio zone for the engineers as well. It's great for people who are mixing in spatial audio to be able to hear in spatial audio, but it's obviously quite difficult because we want to put the audience in the space. So how do we take care of the people making it sound good as well? So we've had to invent, like a mixing area for the spatial audio engineers and a monitoring area for the people on stage in the spatial audio.
Yeah, which was really cool, just because you had the dome, the polygon, which was all spatialized, and then to Adam's point, they had literally a 360 experience around the front of house, plus another 360 experience for VIPs.
Yeah. I think there were four immersive zones if you count the stage as well, which is it's a bit nuts, but it's really great when everyone can kind of get the same experience. The lighting is a big part of Polygon Live as well. We want to make sure that you feel cocooned in the sound, so we synchronize that lighting in 360. Yeah.
Adam sent me more slides this morning, but it was too late.
It's too late, and we don't
He
have
literally
much
just
time.
got in from Thailand. But I think the cool thing that I just want to highlight, like, and just, you know, to be each of your hype persons for a second, is all of these experiences, which I think is really amazing, you can experience in London. So what you have at Kew Gardens, something that is coming, that if you follow Hannah, she'll announce soon. And then Polygon's doing the first immersive stage at Bonnaroo coming up in Tennessee, but then Crystal Palace will happen again next year, and you'll have Wonderfruit as well later. Yeah, so thank you all, and really appreciate your time. Yeah.
Thank you to Adam.